Hi everybody, this is Jerry Roisenthal with ChampionMentorship.com, and I want to welcome you back to day 3 of our series this week, the top 5 priorities for growth. Now delete that, don't send that. I'm going to start from scratch. Hi everybody, this is Jerry Roisenthal with ChampionMentorship.com, and I want to welcome you back to day 3 of our series this week, Top 5 Priorities for Growth. And today we're going to focus on a topic that I always love to talk about, and this message is entitled The Training Sweet Spot. Now, when you get started in a business of any kind, there is a level of training that we have to go through to understand what it is that we're going to be doing. There is what I like to call a learning curve. And for those that are in direct selling, which is of course my background, I understood how that was. When I started my business, I didn't know anything about anything about anything. I had never been in business, never been in network marketing, never did anything. And I knew that I was going to have to go through a level of training in order to learn what I needed to learn to become good at what I needed to do. But here's the challenge that I see a lot of people do, is we have what I like to call training overload. There is so much training that we go to so many training things that we get overloaded with information, and yet we don't really understand what we're supposed to do with all of this information when we come back. And so we're actually more confused than we actually were before we went to the training. And you know, when you're building a business, training is important. But I believe with every fiber of my being that you've got to pick the trainings that you're going to be a part of. Now, the trainings that your leaders give you, in my opinion, are non-negotiable. Okay, if you're going to be building a business, you're never going to win if you don't plug in. Okay, so if your team is doing team training calls, that is something you've got to be on. If your team is doing monthly meetings, you've got to attend that. If your business is doing conventions or events as a company, you've got to plug into those things. Anything that your company does or anything that the leaders you work with do, in my opinion, you've got to plug in to those things, because those are the very things within the business that are going to help you grow and get to the next level. But there are times where we want to get training outside of that. I know for me, when I started my business, man, I remember going to Tony Robbins' one-day event and getting blown away by that. And then I remember that Brian Tracy came around and did an event, and I went to that. And there was a bunch of people that I went to. Tom Hopkins went to a 3-day boot camp in sales. And all of it was fantastic. But it was so much information that I didn't even know how to process it all. And so I believe that when we determine what kind of training are we going to go to, or what kind of training are we going to get outside of the training that our leaders give us, I think we've got to be very careful of the kind of trainings that we choose, because in my personal opinion, you can't possibly choose all of them, because there's a lot of information that sometimes it's hard to put into action. You know, I used to have people in my office, I used to call them training groupies. I mean, every training that we did, every training that we went to, there they were. They were sitting there, they were alert, they were taking notes like crazy. It was the greatest training they had ever heard. Until the next training they went to, when they were sitting there excited, taking notes. Oh my gosh, this is the greatest training I've ever heard. But let me tell you what I saw. Their numbers were stagnant. There was no growth in their numbers. There was no explosion in their business, because what they did was they went to trainings, learned a lot of stuff, felt great about the fact that they knew more than they did before, but if you don't implement the things that you're learning, then it does no good to you or anybody else on your team. So my message today is something that I want to make very clear to you. Am I telling you that you should not be going to bunches of trainings to learn and grow and become better? Absolutely not. Am I saying that we can sometimes go to too many trainings and get training overload? Yes, I do believe that. And so I believe that what we need to do is we need to decide what kind of trainings do we want to be a part of that are going to really help us grow and get us to the next level. Something that's going to have an immediate impact in our life and an immediate impact in our business, so that we can take the tools that we're learning at the trainings we're going to and implement them immediately so that we can start seeing results. You know, I will share this with you as my last thought for today, and that is this. Most of you that are watching this video now already know enough and have had enough training to hit the top levels of your company. I believe that. Now, some of you are just brand new and might have to go through that learning curve, and that's okay, but many of you already know what you need to do, understand what you need to understand. The thing that you got to do now is put that training into action. So find that training sweet spot for you. Find what's a perfect fit and not an overload. Don't be a training groupie where you just go to trainings and learn and do nothing, but get the right kind of training, implement the right kind of training, and I truly believe that that's going to help you in your growth and your ability to hit the goals that you have set for yourself. So I hope that message encouraged and inspired you. I thank you for tuning in to our daily mindset message, and I want to encourage you to come back tomorrow for day 4 of our series, the top 5 priorities for growth. Have a great day, everybody.